Now, we were talking earlier about Donald Trump and tweeting, and you've been on the receiving end of many of his tweets over the past year or so. Now that he's president, should President-elect Trump continue to tweet, or do you think he should cease and desist?
You know, I understand Trump's argument about why he shouldn't change a thing, because look where it got him. But I also understand Melania's argument, which is step away from the Twitter, that it doesn't necessarily serve his best angels. And I've been actually kind of surprised to see how active he's been with the Twitter account since becoming president-elect.
Do you think he should stop?
It's not really for me to say. You know, it's more the content of what he tweets as opposed to the tweeting itself, right? Some of the messages are inspirational. He's got some 11 million followers, and I know Trump views that as his own personal newspaper and a way of bypassing what he calls the disgusting media. So I understand its appeal, but I do think he needs to be careful in his messaging given the office that he has just ascended to. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Another thing we wanted to ask you about was the part in the book when you talk about the way Trump was acting before the first GOP debate in Cleveland.
Yeah.
To what extent do you think that Trump had some inkling of what the first question you were going to ask him was going to be?
I don't think he had any inkling. All I think he knew is that I was going to hit him with a pointed question. And I think what he was worried about is that I was going to ask him about his divorce from Ivana Trump. Because what I reveal in the book is a sort of prequel to that first debate question and that first debate moment that, you know, everybody's now seen. And there was a backstory because Trump was very unhappy with a segment I had done on the Kelly file the week prior. And that segment was about his divorce from Ivana and her deposition testimony, sworn testimony during the divorce proceedings that he had allegedly raped her. She recanted it and now claims it wasn't true. It was reported on by an author at the time, and then it was picked up by the Daily Beast the week before the presidential debate, and it got picked up everywhere, Politico and elsewhere. So I put the Daily Beast reporter on just to give him a hard time. You know, it was 30 years ago, she recanted, it's a divorce proceeding. People say things all the time that aren't true in divorce testimonies. So why did you think this was relevant? Trump was not happy. He was not happy that I put the story on the air at all. He didn't care that I was telling the other side of it. He didn't want to see it get any oxygen. And that's fine. The candidates don't like a lot of what I do. It's not my job to please them. But I think the thing he was worried about going into that first debate was that I was going to bring that up on the debate stage.
And do you think Trump tried to bribe you or compromise you when he invited you and your husband to Mar-a-Lago, or when he offered to pay for that weekend you were having with your friends from Chicago at the Trump Soho?
I think bribe is too strong. I think he was trying to curry favor, not just with me, but with many members of the media, because I know many journalists who received invitations down to Mar-a-Lago or who were given rides on his plane. And I think that Trump, and I've actually heard from politicians that he would do the same thing with them. So I think he wanted people to love him, and he wanted journalists in particular to have fond feelings for him. So I don't think it was necessarily about Megyn Kelly. It was about the press and people who could do something for him. And this is the world in which he's grown up, right? New York real estate, that's how you get things done. That's the way he knows how to do business. And I actually don't think that this is on Trump. I think that it's on the journalists who accepted the gifts and then never disclosed that or never gave them back or made good on it once they started to cover him as a presidential candidate.
I think in the book you describe what Trump is offering. Are you saying that some journalists also accepted it?
Yes, yes. Plenty of journalists have gone down to Mar-a-Lago. Not all have, like I know one journalist who went down there for a charity event. That's different. That's a different story, right? But I know plenty of people who have been on his 757, who had golf memberships down there, who took trips to Mar-a-Lago, which I don't know whether they paid for those trips or not, but it's dicey if Trump invites you personally and you say yes and you go, and then you go out on the air and you cover him without disclosing that you received this special invitation. Maybe you had a dinner comp, maybe he made sure your room was upgraded. There are just these little ways of currying favor. And in the normal world, there's nothing wrong with that. And I still think there's nothing wrong with Trump trying to do it. I think